Hey, it's me, Barber33, and welcome to my second installment of my Rare Retrospective series. Today, I take a look at Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest, aka my favorite game ever. Spoiler alert. This is the game that actually made me into the gamer I am today. So let's dive in, and I'll tell you why this is my #1 game ever.
It's even tougher than the original.
There's not much backstory or beta on Donkey Kong Country 2, so let's talk about something I forgot to mention in the first game. Diddy Kong was originally going to be Donkey Kong Jr., but Nintendo didn't like the new redesign, so Rare had a choice between using the original design or to rename the character. Rare chose to call him Diddy Kong, and that's pretty much how he was created. That's really the only thing I found interesting to mention. There's also some unused sprite, but I didn't find that interesting to mention, but if you're interested, you can find some footage online. But let's go ahead and begin the game. Like I said in the last video, I'm playing the Virtual Console version, which is pretty much identical to the SNES version. Donkey Kong Country 2 is a pirate-themed game, so of course we're going to start on a pirate ship with Pirate Panic. In the first stage, you enter a door and read a note that says Captain K. Rool, formerly known as King K. Rool, kidnapped Donkey Kong. This is unique to me because some variants will do the same thing over and over again with a slight change of variation, but Captain K. Rool actually stole the hero of the last game and is now up to the sidekick Diddy and his girlfriend Dixie to save the day. I don't remember many games doing that. In fact, I don't remember any games doing that recently. The only two games that come to mind is Mario is Missing and Super Princess Peach, but that's about it. As for movesets, Diddy Kong pretty much got the same moveset in the last game, while Dixie Kong has similar movesets, but the one ability that really separates her from the rest of the Kongs is her ability to hover, which becomes really useful and makes her one of my favorite characters in the whole Donkey Kong Country series. They also have the ability to carry each other on their shoulders to reach platform they normally couldn't reach on their own, and to destroy bigger enemies. We also get reintroduced to Remy the Rhino in this level, who pretty much also act the same way, except for one added bonus, which is a supercharge, which he charges up just like, it kind of reminds me of Shawn Michaels when he set up the Sweet Sin music. At least that's how I imagine it when I was playing it for the first time. Anyways, it helped you discover secret locations like this one. We also had the return of Cranky Kong, who pretty much acts the same way, except now you have to pay for his advice. And you can notice all these little Easter eggs in the background, including a poster of a Killer Instinct character, which I believe is Thunder. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Since there's nothing really interesting about level 2 to talk about, let's talk about the collectibles that you can get in this game. Now, of course, there's the Kong letters and the bananas that you collect just like the first game, but there's also some special coins that you can collect. The banana coins are used to pay the other coins for information and other services. There's the Crimin coins, which are collected after completing each bonus stage and defeating each boss. And the DK coin, which are hidden cleverly around each level. And while I'm at it, I want to mention one thing that I forgot to mention in the backstory / beta of the game. Donkey Kong Country 2 was originally going to be a Virtual Boy game. I guess Nintendo wanted to put out a well-known popular game to increase the sales of the Virtual Boy, but of course everybody knows that the Virtual Boy was a complete and utter failure, so Donkey Kong Country 2 went on to the Super Nintendo. Next we got Winky Kong, the wife of Cranky Kong. This is where you can save your games and pay for information and learn about secrets of each stage. And a fair warning to you guys, well, every time I try to exit out of a certain scenario of the game, I usually press the B button, but doing that allows you to select the option that you're currently pointing at. So a fair warning to you guys. Level 4 is the reintroduction of Unguard the Marlin, who, just like Remy, acts like the same and has a special move that allows you to find secret places and secret areas. To be honest, this stage, this whole world, there's not really much to talk about. Not mainly because there's nothing fun about it, but mainly because there's other levels that does a similar thing, but much, much better. So right now, we're just getting the basic tour of the game. We got Shrinky Kong, who is a game show host, who helps you give extra lives by playing some games. Each game is pretty much answering a question about the level of each stage. And, well, just a fun fact, all the lives and coins will reset after you turn off the game, so fair warning to you guys. We get an introduction of our new animal buddy, Rattler the Rattlesnake, who is pretty much the frog animal buddy from the first game. You're able to jump on enemies, and with a super high jump, he's able to reach platforms that the Kongs normally can't. Well, assuming that you don't count the Kong's ability to carry each other on their shoulders. And when you hold A, Rattler has a super jump ability that makes him jump higher. Now we reach to the first boss of the game, which is Crow. Crow is pretty easy and simple to figure out. All he does for the first 2 turns, he just drops an egg, and you must jump on it to stop it, carry it, and pretty much ram it to him. And in his second stage, he runs into the crow's nest, and dozens of eggs will fall down. Well, not literally dozens, but eggs will start falling down like crazy, and you must wait for the one that actually falls down to the floor and lands. And, repeat the same process, just hit him with the egg again 2 more times, and that's it. Now, the first world is pretty easy. Not really memorable, but it's still a fun stage. Right now, it seems like it's just like the first game, but with a different pirate theme. But it gets better once we move along. The second area we get to is the volcano level, because when you think pirates, you think a freaking volcano. Well, either ways, the first level is pretty interesting. You have these crocodiles and this lava, which makes really no sense, but then again, this is a game about 2 monkeys running on animal buddies finding crocodiles. But anyways, these crocodiles in the lava, well, the green one is pretty much just a platform, while the brown one helps launch your Kong characters up in the air once they land on them, and pretty much get you through the level. We also get a introduction of our newest animal buddy, and possibly my favorite, and that's Squitter the Arachnid. Now, his ability is to shoot webs that destroy the enemies and create another web that acts as a platform. And that's pretty much one of my favorite abilities, to create platforms and find some secret stuff that's hidden in this game. We have Kerber, who is the guardian of the secret levels. Now you can either pay up, fight, or run away. If you fight, you'll always lose that battle. Level 3 of World 2 is the introduction of Crapper, the seal animal buddy. In this level, you jump on him to cool the water down, and you must repeat this or else the water will heat back up. This gimmick is used twice in this game, and the second one does it much better, and I'll show you later on in this video. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this one did it bad, it's just the second one did it much better, but the first one gave you a nice introduction of it and prepare you for the other stages, even though it's just one more. I'm not too surprised that Rare didn't use this gimmick more often, but a couple more couldn't hurt. Red Hot Ride is my favorite level in this world. In this stage, you ride on these hot air balloons and use the steam to rise it back up while avoiding enemies. The one small thing I really like about this stage is not really the stage itself. Don't get me wrong, the stage is great, but while you're riding those hot air balloons, You notice the little animation each character does while you control the balloon. Like Diddy Kong juggle his coins and Dixie Kong pretty much drink from her juice box. Again, very minor, not very important to the gameplay, but it's the little things that I appreciate in this game. I'm going to introduce Squawks in another level, but I do want to point out the level's name that Rare decided to name it. It's just another example of Rare's silly humor. To be honest, I didn't recognize that till right now. Now I reached the boss battle of World 2, Creever, the giant sword that shoots fireballs at you. Now this boss is pretty easy. All you have to do is dodge the fireballs, wait for the cannonball to appear, and pretty much repeat the process while going to the other side of the stage. This boss battle is pretty easy, pretty predictable, but it's still a lot of fun, especially in the second part where all these hooks come out. But again, pretty easy boss battle. As for World 2 itself, it was a pretty fun stage, although I think the visual is really more memorable than the actual stage itself. And what I mean by that there's really nothing memorable about the stage. It wasn't too difficult, but it was still pretty fun, especially the first one and the hot air balloon one. The first one mainly because of that spider power up, or animal bed I mean, and get to explore that stage a bit and find some hidden stuff. But for the most part, this road is, I want to say forgettable, but definitely not the best one compared to the other levels. But it's a nice step up. And again, they did a pretty good job combining the pirate theme and the volcano theme together. Again, I didn't think that Rare could combine, volcano and pirate together, but for the most part, they did a great job. Now on to World 3, the Swamp World, which takes place on a wrecked pirate ship. The first level is a pretty decent introduction of the swamp levels you're about to see, especially the music. Now normally I don't play music on my reviews, mainly to avoid copyright, but if you want to listen to it, the song is called Bayou Boogie. It's pretty catchy, and I recommend listening to the entire soundtrack of Donkey Kong Country 2. But anyways, in this level, the gimmick is pretty simple. You have these barrels that has a timer on it, and you can point at any direction. That's pretty much it. It's a simple level, but it's pretty fun. The next level is the introduction of our new animal buddy, Soul Moving Kremlin. Just kidding, it's actually Grimmer, the fish, who is pretty much Squawks from the first Donkey Kong Country game. Honestly, I think the stage would have been much better without him. I think swimming in the dark area would have been a better challenge, and plus, you're able to see the area pretty well, so I think his existence is pretty useless for the most part, and I also think this is the only appearance of him in this game. Level 3 is the jump on enemies to get to the level stage. There's gotta be a shorter word for that. But anyways, in this stage, you will need to test your timing skills very well. Sure, Dixie hover ability is pretty useful, but I recommend not to get too greedy with that ability, unless you know the layout of the stage pretty well. But if you're pretty new to this level, I recommend taking your time. In level 4, this is where you're introduced to the transformation barrel. At first, I was confused on why Rare didn't just use the boxes like the previous stages, but after playing through this level, it actually makes sense. You need to be the animal buddy in this part of the game to complete the level, while the other past stages, it was actually optional and not necessary. For example, if you were riding an animal buddy and got hit, the animal will run away and most likely fall into a pit. And if you did that here, you would end up had to restart the game, or pretty much kill yourself and restart this whole stage. really did their homework on this one. Now, the only reason why I want to talk about level 6 is mainly because of the music. Now, again, like I said before, I don't usually play the music, mainly because of YouTube copyright laws, but this music is awesome. It's called Stickerbush Symphony. Give it a listen. As for the level itself, it's pretty much go to the right barrels to make it through the stage. If you don't know what you're doing, then this level can become very annoying. Now on to the boss of World 4, and he looks nothing like the Guardian of the Secret Levels. Original character Do Not Steal. But seriously, this guy, his name is, and forgive me if I mispronounce his name, Kudgel. His name is spelled Kudgel. He is the brother of Krubber, and his attack patterns are pretty easy to recognize. His main attack is jumping and swinging that giant crab. When he jumps down, you gotta jump up, or else he'll end up stunning you where you stand. Pretty much just hit him with that TNT barrel, and that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple boss battle. As for the whole swamp level itself, from a visual standpoint, well, personally, I'm never a big fan of swamp levels visually, mainly because, well, it's pretty much green and brown. You can't really do much with swamp levels. But the whole levels, the gameplay pretty much picks up. I got frustrated in a few levels, but again, it's not too hard, but the difficulty is up from here on out. Well, I rank the swamp level, I say it's better than World 1, definitely. I wouldn't say better than World 2, but again, it's not a terrible level. I guess compared to the other levels, this would be the best one, but to make it more accurate, it's my least favorite one. Anyways, on to the next one. World 4 is a pretty interesting world. It's pretty much half beehive levels and half roller coaster levels. The first level is the beehive level, and it introduces the honey gimmick. Now, the honey on the floor keeps your characters from walking around, so you pretty much gotta jump from place to place, and the honey on the wall is pretty much used for wall jumping. I really like this gimmick. It made the level really fun. Again, I really love the music in this one. I don't know what the music title is called, but I'm pretty sure it has the word honeycomb in it. And man, look at the graphics, the background, all the honeycombs. It looks very detailed, and to me, this is probably one of the best looking levels in this game. Also, I like the animation of the characters eating the honey. Again, it's those little things that make this game special. In the next level, we immediately enter the amusement park area, and we get our first minecart level. We'll just replace the minecart with roller coaster. In this level, there are two barrels to select from. A checkmark barrel and the X barrel. Hit the checkmark barrel to proceed and avoid the X. Again, I'm really surprised that Rare didn't make more of these levels, but with the few that they have made, they hit it right out of the park. And again, the music is amazing. Again, check it out. It's called Disco Train. It's one of the best disco music I ever heard. Then again, I don't really listen to disco, so take that with a grain of salt. Level 3, we get shoehorned into a bramble stage. Surprised it wasn't an Aztec temple like in the last game. That's one of the disappointing things about this game. There's not an Aztec temple in the sequel. I'm a bit disappointed in that. But anyways, in this level, we get Squawks the parrot minus the shaft. Squawks can fly, but you have to mash the A button to ascend, and he can attack by shooting. Well, as a kid, I thought it was nuts. Again, I thought it was eggs, but I looked it up and it said it was parrots. Squawks takes a little bit of time to get used to, but he's pretty good to control. Again, it takes some time. We're in another roller coaster level, but this time we're in a race, and depending on what place you get at the end of the level, you get different prices. This is an awesome gimmick. And one thing I forget to note in the first level, I mean, look at that background, so beautiful, the fireworks going off. Again, it's amazing how Rare not only make groundbreaking graphics at the time, but also make great use of it as well. In the last level before the boss, we have another beehive level. It's pretty much the same as the first. The only thing worth mentioning is the Rambi transformation section, which is the best part of that level. I wish Rare would have made the entire level this part, but instead it's only the last part of the level. Now we're at the boss battle of World 4, is King Singer. This is pretty interesting because this is the first time in the Donkey Kong Country series that an animal ability is used to fight a boss battle, and the only time in this game that this happens. King Singer can be a bit difficult to fight, not because of his attacks. His attack pattern is actually pretty easy to figure out, but he's pretty hard to hit. His weak spot is his stinger, and you need to have almost perfect timing just to hit him. Do this a few times, and then you get his second form, which is transforming into 6 bees. Defeat all of them and proceed to the next level. World 4 is top contender of one of my favorite worlds in this game. There's another world that could give it some real competition, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But World 4 has a lot of great levels. Now, does the beehive level and the roller coaster level fit into the pirate theme of this game? Well, at this point, I'm like, who cares? These levels are great. I definitely like the roller coaster levels, the beehive levels, especially the one with Remy. Even that one Bramble level that was kind of shoehorned in there. A lot of great levels. I like to go back to play, every year. And even though this may be the high point of this game, that doesn't mean that there's not any high points in the other worlds. So let's go check them out. World 5 is a ghost theme world. In level 1, we have these ghost rope things. They appear and disappear at certain times. Some pretty slow, others pretty quick. And you must jump on them to proceed to the end of the level. This level is kind of boring, especially compared to what we just been through to the last world. It's not a bad level, it's just pairs in comparison. That's pretty much it. Now the next level definitely picks things up. It's one of my favorite levels and definitely one of the most frustrating. It's one of the best roller coaster levels in this game. There are these two types of barrels, the press and minus barrel. Hit the press barrel to increase the time and avoid the minus barrel from decreasing it, or else that ghost skeleton Crackle will attack you once the timer hits 0. Now I'm not sure why he can't attack you before the timer runs out, but not that I'm complaining. Fun fact, there was some speculation that Crackle was going to be Mr. X, a character that was going to be in the game but was removed for some reason. There were also rumors that Mr. X was originally going to be the boss of this world, but none has been proven just yet. Level 4 is a beehive level. I don't know why they didn't put this level in the last world, but whatevs. But in this world, we get our first and last introduction of Crocs. Nothing like Squawks, like nothing like him. Original character do not steal. But seriously, his ability is just floating down like a parachute and controlling him while avoiding enemies. This is probably a boring level or the beehive level. In comparison, of course. But considering that our last level is pretty frustrating, it's nice to have a calm and easy level like this one. The next level is the spiral transformation level, where you make platforms over the open pits to advance through the area. One thing I forgot to mention about Squirter when introducing him the first time is that he can create 2 platforms at a time. Now when he makes a third one, the first platforms start disappearing. As for the level itself, it's a nice level, pretty easy. It's fun, but not a level I'll go back to. So again, one of those calm levels that takes it easy on you. The boss of World 5 is the Ghost of Crow, the same boss from the first world, but his attacks are much different. The first phase is to avoid the Ghost Bird, but hit the bird that's actually alive. By hitting that bird, a barrel will appear and use that to hit the boss. Giant ghost crow will then fly up and you must follow him while avoiding these giant eggs that he's dropping. Repeat this 2 more times and that's pretty much it. This boss battle was pretty fun. The patterns were easy to figure out, but sometimes it could be difficult to avoid, especially in the second part. As for World 5, it would have been the most boring world in this game if it went for that one minecart level, the one with the crocodile chasing after you. Technically, it'd be World 1 that's the most boring level, but you know, it's World 1, of course it's going to be the most boring, or at least it should be. And it's just by comparison to the other worlds. Every world is fun in its unique own way, and this one provides a quite bit of fun, especially with the ghost theme. It's really more of a visual appreciation rather than each level appreciation. Again, not saying that the level isn't fun, it's just, you know, in comparison, it was kind of lacking. Level 1 of World 6, we got our first ice level. Now looking at the overall map, it doesn't look like it wouldn't be an ice level in this world, but whatever. The first level has to be the cheapest, mainly because of these starfish enemies. They start attacking before appearing on screen. Now granted, you can hear them coming, but you have little to no time to prepare because you don't know which directions they may be going. So this stage is pretty much trial and error. Other than that, it's really not that hard of a stage. Now level 3 is a rising platform level. You must ride this platform up to the goal while attacking or avoiding enemies, whichever get you to the top. Now this is a pretty hard level, but not as hard as the first one, mainly because enemy doesn't attack out of nowhere, so you got time to prepare for the attack. Sure, it may take some memorization here and there, but you still have time to react, and every time that I died, I felt like it was my fault and not the game. This is the one thing that Donkey Kong Country 2 did better than the original Donkey Kong Country. Every time I played a level on Donkey Kong Country, I felt like it was unfair, and I asked myself, how was I supposed to prepare for that beforehand? Now granted, Donkey Kong Country isn't the hardest game, but it can be unfair at times, while Donkey Kong Country 2 is way more fair, but also keep that difficulty in check. So that's why I feel like every time I make a mistake, it was my fault. Next, we get the second ice level in the game. Unfortunately, it's also the last one in the game. We have the Seal Animal Betty once again. You need to use them to freeze the water and run across before the ice melts. Although it's not the hardest level in this game, it does test your speed and timing. And in my opinion, this is the best ice level in Donkey Kong Country 2. Then again, there's only 2 to pick from, and this one obviously wins. Now we're at the last level before the big boss battle, and we get the hardest level in the game. This is more than just a hard level. It's a make one big mistake and you're screwed level. See, there's this pool of green toxin that's rising up, and you must reach the top before it gets you. And once you're stuck in that toxin, you're pretty much screwed. Now, by the sound of it, it sounds like I'm describing a very bad level that's too unfair, but trust me, it's not. Yeah, falling into the toxin with little to no way to escape from it may be a little unfair, but the level does give you a good head start in front of the toxin, and you also have time to react to the enemies. So pretty much every mistake you made is the gamer's fault, not the game. This level is where gamers are made, and after completing the stage, I really felt like I accomplished something. I did the impossible, and to me, if you felt satisfaction from completing a hard level, I think that's a sign that you made a very good game. It's the boss of World 6, and we've been fooled. Captain K. Rool is teasing us with Donkey Kong, and it ends up we got one more level to go. We're at the real last level of the game, and it's a bramble level. The only thing worth mentioning about this stage is the spread race near the end of the level. You have to beat the spread at this race while killing and avoiding enemies, and of course, if you don't win the race, you die. Other than that, this stage is pretty forgettable, and at this point, it feels like the game is just stalling. Now back to Wrinkly Kong. She has a lesson on Captain K. Rool, and I decided to buy it to see what advice she gives. And it ends up that her advice is making sure that you have plenty of lives. This is the first time ever I felt ripped off on wasting fake money. Oh man. I can't wait till Donkey Kong 64. A little bit of a spoiler, she dies at Donkey Kong 64. And now we reach the main event of this game, the final boss, with Captain K. Rool as we see him just giving Donkey Kong a good beating. Dang, I'm surprised this character's not in Smash Bros. Yet. Captain K. Rool has 3 phases. The first 2 are pretty easy to figure out. The first one is simply grabbing the cannonball without the spikes and draw it at K. Rool when his cannon gun is inhaling. Do this 3 times and you enter the second phase. The second phase is similar to the first one, but this time he's shooting it at you rather than just tossing it on the floor. The first one is just a straight line, you gotta jump and duck them. Second one is bouncing cannonballs and you gotta dodge them. And the third one is the circle ones where cannonballs go in a circle and you must of course dodge them. When the barrel comes out, you gotta destroy that barrel and a regular cannonball will be inside it and draw the cannonball at K. Rool when he starts inhaling. Now the third phase is the most difficult one and the one I had trouble with, especially as a kid. It's not hard to figure out, but you probably make some mistakes here and there. Now, this is where K. Rool starts blowing smoke quite literally, and there's 3 different kinds of smoke. The blue smoke, if you touch that one, you end up freezing and you need to do some button smashing to get out of it. The second smoke is the red smoke, and if you touch that one, you end up slowing down. And the dead smoke is the purple smoke, and if you touch that one, you end up changing direction. So if you press right on the direction pad, you end up going left and vice versa. But once you overcome those obstacles and pretty much get the cannonball and draw that K. Rool like you did earlier ago, you end up getting the best final sequence and you find out that Rare unintentionally created Smash Bros. After the boss battle, Cranky congratulates you on saving the day, and we see how we rank on the Video Game Heroes Award. As we see here, we have cameos of Nintendo characters like Mario and Yoshi from the Super Mario Bros. Series, and Link from the Legend of Zelda. And if you see past the text, there's a trash can and a sign reading No Hopers, and by that, there's Sonic the Hedgehog shoes, and Earthworm Jim's ray gun next to the trash can. Apparently Rare has the power to see into the future as well. Now that's pretty much the end of the game, and here are my afterthoughts. So how well did Donkey Kong Country 2 did in sales? I named the top 5 best-selling Super Nintendo games in the last retrospective, stating Donkey Kong Country was number 2 on that list. Diddy Kong Quest was actually number 6 behind Legend of Zelda Link to the Past. Why it didn't sell as well as the first game, I have no idea. The only reason I can guess is that the 3 million people who bought the first game didn't like it and didn't bother trying the sequel. Donkey Kong Country did about 9 million and Diddy Kong's Quest did about 6 million. Not that the game is bad, I mean, it was number 6 on the list, so congratulations Donkey Kong Country 2. Now, as I said earlier in the videos, possibly multiple times, that this is my favorite game ever. I mean, ever. But why? Playing this as a kid, it was the first game I ever completed. Now, not 100% got every coins and everything, but finished the story from start to finish. This felt more than a game to me. It felt like I was on an adventure, and I wanted to finish the game, even when the levels are pretty frustrating. I still kept going. Not to say that other games weren't good that I played on the NES, like Super Mario Bros. 3. I just didn't have any interest in finishing them. Now, of course, now that I played those games, since I got the time, I missed out on a lot of those games. But regardless, Donkey Kong Country 2 was the game that made me into the gamer today. Now, granted, you could say I'm being too nostalgic, or I'm nostalgia buying, and that's true. I'm not going to deny that. But again, this game will always hold a special place in my heart, and it still hasn't. No other games still haven't topped this game, at least in my opinion, of course. Well, that's the end of this retrospective video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like, comment, positive or negative. Tell me what I did good. Tell me what I did bad so I can improve on it. And see you next time when I review the last Donkey Kong Country or the Donkey Kong trilogy. Well, before the Wii and Wii U version, of course. When I review Donkey Kong Country 3 Dixie Double Trouble. This is me, Baba Daddy Dre, and I catch you guys later.